Tarumbeta italia katika anga.
Like this. That is how the trumpet will sound.
IKONINI. So kulikuwa na hii headline and headline ilikuwa interesting kabisa. Ilikuwa ni LSK slums rogue judiciary. Alafu ikakuwa ni LSK opposes ruling banning outsourcing of lawyers by government. Then ikakuwa lawyers accused the judiciary of stifling their profession. Then ikakuwa ni Odhiambo. Sasa ni Faith Odhiambo. There have been attempts to stifle legal profession. And kauna unashindwa hii ni story gani? It's one of those stories, I've talked about it in different ways, but it's one of those things where the Kenyan government always outsources legal services and then ends up paying these very exorbitant fees that you have to wonder that, like, is this necessary? For example, one of the reasons why wasee wengi ama the case that really pushed naitwa nani, like Ahmed Nasir into the forefront for a lot of us ilikuwa the 2013 elections, najua dispute, and I think that's the time when a lot of people started joking and calling him the Supreme Goat. And what happened in that case, if you have to go down kwa hiyo case, because kuna some that IBC is not the government, IBC is also the government, najua anything that's paid by taxpayers money, I'm going to look at it as the government. So ilikuwaje? Ilikuwa ni IBC paid Ahmed Nasir 40 million shillings. Then kakwa the electoral agency paid senior counsel Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi 40 million in the 2013 presidential election petition, higher than what the commission paid its lead counsel. So you have to wonder, what are these lead counsels for? Because, for example, in democracies, in more mature democracies, in more honest societies, yes, let me use that term, the attorney general anakuwaga like the lawyer wa gava, alafu andaye kuna watu wengine. So ukiendelea kuna hizi places zingine wakana kitu kama district attorney, so the DA wanakuwaga hapo, and these people are all paid a salary. They can represent the government kuitetea na pia they can prosecute. But sisi inakuwaga ni these funny cases for because another case but before tuangalia the other case, wacha tusikie vile hii story ilikuwa reported and ucheki that there's no one on your side, because I remember like kuna time ingine tulienda tukiweka Faith Odhiambo onto this high pedestal, but you have to understand that she's also part of the rotten system. How is the system rotten? Any system that where lawyers want to do business with the government because they know the government overpays means we can't trust you. Because why? Like Kenya, we pay billions to lawyers. Like hii story, hata tutabonga juu ya story ya Safaricom, but wacha tusikize.
Lawyers in Kenya have protested a High Court order barring all public entities from hiring private law firms. Led by the LSK President Faith Odhiambo, the lawyers say the move by the judiciary is a sustained onslaught aimed at stifling the legal profession. The lawyers have vowed to push for a radical surgery in the judiciary to deal with what they claim is judicial impunity.
Kumbuka Uhuru Kenyatta, vile Uhuru alibaki ame lose ile petition ya 2017. The first thing that he said he was going to deal with the judiciary. This is the same thing that lawyers are saying. Actually, lawyers are saying that since they've gotten a ruling that's against them, they have to deal with the judiciary. All of a sudden the judiciary has impunity. And ucheki all nini zote za Faith Odhiambo before this and pinpoint one case in which she said that the judiciary kuna impunity. She was in the forefront akituambia, oh, hizi stories abductions, instead of abductions, let's use the law courts. Instead of what? Let's use the law courts. As soon as the law courts are like, you know what, you people are making too much money from the government. We need to stop that. Oh, shit. Damn, these people, it's impunity. Oh, look at them. We need to now change the judiciary. Unachekio, kitu nakwambia. And there is no society that can survive like that. When we have this whole Singapore dream, the difference between Sisi and Singapore, inakuwaga first of all the integrity. And apart from integrity, it's patriotism, where public service is something that wasee will look forward to. And this is something that you can even check, even ikikam to even Hollywood. Ukiwachizi ma Hollywood movies, which of course kuna msata kwa hiyo si reality. Zitakuonyeshaga like, utapata kuna scenes zile like a district attorney is approached by someone else and told, najuaje, you know you can leave this and go private and earn much more money. lakini wako zizi. This is about public service. And according to me, the lawyers that represent the government should be top lawyers who can earn much higher salaries as in private, go private, but still working for the government and being good at their freaking jobs. But of course, we don't have that. We end up with some, maybe in quotes, incompetent ones, and then we get others, we outsource others who end up making ridiculous amounts of money. Unajua, because yo 40 million tumetoka kubonga IBC, that's peanuts, man. Tukibonga juu the money, amount of money that we taxpayers pay lawyers, but wacha tuendelee.
The order by Justice Mohochi Mukira, which locks out private law firms from representing public entities, has attracted the wrath of the Law Society of Kenya. In a hard-hitting statement directed at Judiciary, LSK President Faith Odhiambo led her members in pushing back what they claim is a growing trend of judicial impunity out to deprive the legal profession of a fair opportunity to work and earn competitively.
There should be no discrimination. We have architects, we have doctors, we have engineers who are all hired by government, and at the same time external professionals are still taken.
Okay, let's look at the doctors. The doctors who are hired by government, are they paid ridiculous salaries? No, they're not. They're not. They're paid inakuga hizo sijui nitonga ni job description, and if I'm wrong mzabaki umeni correct, but according to me I think doctors on wale wako undercover wanakuga hizo job descriptions. At least you're paid the salaries. These people, we are talking about billions. We are not talking about millions, we're talking about billions. And it's ridiculous that judge did not just come up. Nokome Iko Nini long enough ushaisikia nikibonga joy story nikisema there is no reason, and I'm not even a judge, but one of these episodes hapo kama umenisikiza long enough mkanikisema I didn't even know this case was somewhere, nikisema that it makes no sense that a poor country can end up paying lawyers so much money. It's ridiculous. And then wako hapo, oh now the judiciary has gone rogue, we need a fair chance. If doctors and Nini can be paid, those ones are paid specific. If you're ready to earn 200,000 shillings to represent us in a case, sawa. But if you want to earn $1 billion, no, we need to talk about this.
To do the work, and therefore to single out the entire legal profession of the entire country is not only absurd, illegal and unconstitutional.
Atiki ujinga ya unconstitutional. Sikia hiyo ujinga. So that's what they normally use, and I think that's the reason why tulikuwa na mtu hapa akasema that the Kenyan constitution is also the biggest impediment to pushing Kenya to the next level, because it can be misused. Sa itakuwa hapo, oh, it's not fair, and then some judge somewhere is going to throw it out, and then they'll keep earning these billions. And kusumta hata sama hao billions ilikuwa one lawyer peke yake, ingine 1 millions. Yes, all you need is 1,000 lawyers for each to earn 1 million shillings, and you're talking about $1 billion. But it's never 1,000 lawyers. It's always like 25 lawyers earning at least 40 million each. That's $1 billion. This is $1 billion that could have been used in something else. But now this, unajua money shows you the true picture of someone. This is Faith Odhiambo, and this is her legacy. Her legacy is going to be threatening, calling the judiciary, wacha nitumie hiyo jina, slamming, okay, that's the word that has been used here, the judiciary, and calling it rogue. This is part of her legacy. Alafu nini, mimi mwenyewe pia nikidu hii video nimeshtuka, unajua koza wanaweza nikujia, unajua they can manipulate the law and use it, how my lawyers, and frustrate the hell out of me. But I feel like this is something that we need to talk about. This is something that I've said before. There's no way that a third world country that struggles this much should be paying individuals ridiculous amounts of money. And itakuwa like, oh, you don't understand the legal profession. No, we see what happens in other countries. The only reason why the Gen Zs are asking more questions is because they see what's happening in other countries. And we see that in other countries, there are lawyers who just go for public service and they earn a certain salary and they represent the governments, kwenye county, kwenye national, at those levels diligently. But for Kenya, the easiest way to become rich is to do business with the government. And it does not matter. If you're representing the government as a lawyer, you're doing business with the government. And it's so interesting that Faith Odhiambo 1 minute atakuwa oh stop the abductions, oh damn this is ridiculous, then the next minute ana fight gava the same to work with the same government, alafu maloya wote wamemfuata hapa. Why? Because it's about money, it's not about anything else. And this cow called Kenya is just milked by everyone. Like no one ever looks at the cow and be like, you know what, we need to feed the cow. It's just milk it and milk it and milk it. And then, oh, one day we want to be like Singapore. You'll never be like Singapore. And this is not even about Ruto. This makes even Ruto look good. Why? Of course, it just shows you that he's just part of this society. And in this society, what we know the government for is the government is there to pay a few people and then lack services for. Like, kuna kitu moja Kelisa alisemaga. Kelisa alisema that aki-analyze Kenya akisema how it's a beautiful country, and then she said something to the effect of we never repair potholes. Angalia jo, kuna hii place nawambiaga jo, tumekuwa tukikanyaga mavi like for the past 1 year. Mr. Sakaja, tunakanyaga mavi. Unaona karibu na hiyo building ilianguka, tunakanyaga mavi, tumechoka kukanyaga mavi. It's not been repaired. But you know what? The same county is supposed to be paying someone, an individual, 1.3 billion shillings. And it's okay. It's okay. Why? Because mseka mwafa kiuliza hivi, mwafa weni hater. Weni nini? Umecheki, nani Faith tumemsifu. Ikiwa ni time ya kusifu, takusifu. But we didn't know this side. We didn't know the side that there's this side that's exactly like Uhuru. When a case went against Uhuru, what did Uhuru say? We are going to revisit. Nakumbuka Uhuru akitishia. We shall revisit. Why? Because a case went against him. The same thing now. Now all of a sudden, they're slamming the rogue judiciary. I've never heard you say the judiciary is rogue. And for how long will Kenyan lawyers talk shit about the judiciary and still expect us as citizens to trust the judiciary? If it's not juris pesa, a senior counsel anaita, anasema kuna juris pesa, meaning there's corruption in the judiciary. Tunafaa ku accept. The LSK president tells us the judiciary is rogue. We are supposed to respect it. How? How are you then supposed to turn to us and tell us, no, trust the judicial process? If you yourselves, and then how are you supposed to accept results of the judiciary? Because kama LSK wana Islam hivi, the next elections ikikam next year, and someone goes there and loses, how are they supposed to accept and say it's not a rogue judiciary that has ruled against them? So these are the questions we have to ask ourselves. But wacha tuendelee.
Unconstitutional.
LSK says this is the third attempt to stifle the profession after 2 previous attempts through the cabinet in 2020 and the Senate in 2024 failed. They say the issues raised by petitioners lack sufficient grounds to stop the advocates from executing their mandate and getting their rightful dues. They argue that there are many avenues to deal with rogue advocates.
It will be simple. If you want to work with the government, let's put some caps there. The highest you can get is 500,000 shillings, maybe a month. Yes, and that 500,000 shillings is taxable. I'm sure their lawyers were going to walk away, and their lawyers were going to see that, like, you know what, I can work with this, and I can do a good job with this. Acheki, and those are the up and coming lawyers. Otherwise, the other lawyers wale anaitwa Ahmed Nasir tuambiaga ati juris pesa exists. Those ones for juris pesa, those ones are the ones I expect to be like, hell no, this can't work. And the worst thing about Kenya is, in story utapata, just like when the politicians are fighting for a salary increase, I know right now all lawyers are united in fighting because they want that government deal. And this nonsense has to stop. Najua. This nonsense has to stop. And I feel like I didn't even know this petition was there. Na vile nasema, I've talked about these things so many times. Kwa umesikiaga nikiuliza hizi swali. Like, how do we pay these people this amount of money? And this money comes from the taxpayer. Najua, if this money was coming from private entities, I'll be like, okay, sawa. Like a private entity sues the government wins, the private entity pays that freaking lawyer. Nacheki, not CC. But now this money comes from us as taxpayers. But tuendele.
These grounds are symbolic of a tired rhetoric against a profession that unreservedly dedicates itself to upholding constitutional values and protecting public interest.
How do you protect this public interest? In a rogue judiciary? Ama the judiciary is only rogue when it rules against you? Huh? Are we revisiting with Uhuru Kenyatta? Ama what is happening here?
With the decision putting the lawyers and judiciary on a cross path, LSK has resolved to hit back by pushing for radical surgery with an aim of getting rid of those they deem to be involved in breaches of duty.
Unless this trend is nipped in the bud and with the requisite firmness it deserves, we are prepared to agitate for a radical surgery as a means to uphold and protect our constitution.
Which freaking constitution are we talking about? Where the government can pay you billions of shillings? Unasikia? And these are the lawyers. These are the people who are supposed to protect us. These are the people who are supposed to make sure that we are all acting within the law. And these are the people who, like, a case has gone against them and they're like, fuck the judiciary. Yes, the judiciary was perfect until it gave us this. Now judiciary imeingiza mkono kwa mfuko yetu. Yes, and so what's supposed to happen? So now let's say they are able to get this radical surgery. How are the next judges, how the judges who survive supposed to ever rule against lawyers? Because if you rule against us, we'll just do another surgery. If you rule against us, we'll just do another surgery. So this is what's happening. And damn, okay.
As things stand, the Law Society of Kenya is collating all emerging instances of ineptitude, judicial arrogance and abrogation of duty on the part of judges and judicial officers.
The petitioners have defended their petition, arguing that their case is focused on prudent use of financial resources. They argue that hiring of external lawyers, while there are state council or county attorneys, amounts to wastage of public resources.
You cannot have, for example, where we employ people competitively, then we now say they cannot understand these complex cases. Let us now go and pick private lawyers.
Damn, man. Gikenyi, salute. I didn't even know about you, man. Like, oh, damn. Like, this case is so simple. Like, when we think about taxpayers' funds, and we think about vile nakwambia tumekuwa tukikanyaga mavi for a whole freaking year. Tunakanyaga mavi. And it's so tricky because mavi yenyewe iko karibu na pothole. So you have to choose. So ile side iko na nini? Side haiko na pothole, iko na mavi. Alafu side ingine iko na, so lazima uchague ni gani utakanyaga. And that's what we've been living with. And then I see this level of threats where now, like, this is how much we waste public funds. Because these public funds don't come from thin air. They don't come from thin air. They come from CC. The difference between CC and these developed countries is they don't waste money. Hakuna any developed country. And this is something as I put out a challenge to Faith Odhiambo. Show me, like, one of the democracies that we all admire is the American democracy. And that's where capitalism is capitalism. Anafaa kutuonyesha an example where America, like a city in America, takes a private lawyer to represent them and pays them all those ridiculous amounts of money. Hakunaga, inakuwaga the district attorney, inakuwaga the state attorney, yes. Ama ni half the attorney, ama the state attorney general, I don't know. But that's what they do. They save every coin. Europe is even worse. Europe niko sure ni efficient, like, to the letter. Like, Europe niko sure. England ndio tunafaa kucheck. Because England, our constitution, tumeboro mostly from England. Najua. That's why even our lawyers wear that bullshit on top of their heads and they are super proud of it. Even the educated ones. Wako hapo mpigilia bullshit fulani because white people are doing it now. They think they need to do it. You know, so it's some bullshit. But wacha tuendelee. But hugi Kenya najua. And huo judge atakuwa threatened and most probably hii case itakuwa overturned because the other judges will be scared. But at least someone is doing it. And one day, just one day, maybe, we'll have also an executive that's like, you know what, this jurisprudence and nonsense needs to end. And you tell me to go, they're targeting lawyers. But haitajali. Because if you build a profession where we can threaten the judiciary and slam the judiciary and call the judiciary rogue, then this is what we get.
In most cases, if you realize, there is no rationale who to pick for this case and who to pick for this case.
We're trying to put across the issue of non-delegation. We don't want some work that is delegated to a certain branch to be delegated to a private sector. If we are running a course of public finance, we're trying to defend the public money from misappropriation.
The High Court in Nakuru also directed the Controller of Budget not to approve any funds for external legal services until the matter is heard and determined. LSK have appointed a lawyer who will represent them in the case. They have also filed an application seeking to review the orders.
Alafu na chiki vile wamesema, if that doesn't work, what are they going to do? They're going to do a radical surgery of the judiciary. So this is what we have. So I remember when there's a lot of times Susamaga that the executive is overstepping its mandate. And we remember like Uhuru used to be on that bullshit. Uhuru and Matiang'i, like they never cared about the judiciary. And now we've come to a place where the lawyers don't even care about the judiciary. Racheki. And the lawyers are there like, you know what, if you don't rule in our way, we are going to radical surgery, whatever. Because you have to understand that this is inakuaga a game of billions. This is from the outside, because we always separate ourselves from the government. But the people are the government, if you have to look at it. Because sisi, who's the government? Najua. This is an institution that runs because the people have given given that whatever the mandate. Alafu on top of that, for that organization to run, the people have to get into their pockets and najua pay taxes. Iko Nini. So the festive season is here. Na LemFi wako na a very great offer kwako. Abaki umesign up ukitumia the promo code Iko Nini, and on your first transaction ya $50 ukisend home, unabaki umepata a $20 sign up reward. Najua $20 sign up reward on your first transaction of $50 only. Why? Because it's the festive season. Baki umechangamka, tumia promo code Iko Nini, ingia LemFi. Why? Upate the most competitive exchange rates. Alafu pia inakuwaga ni chap like transactions ziko instant. Changamka haraka, LemFi, international payments for everyone. Iko Nini. So let's look at a few cases. So kulikuwa na ile ya Ahmed Nasir of course, hiyo ya 40 million, which is peanuts. Why? Because tukiangalia ile story ya Standard Media ilikuwa ni court orders Nairobi to deposit 1.3 billion in Kipkorir case. Alafu kwa ni Nairobi County has until 18th of August 2025 to deposit 1.3 billion into a joint earning account with lawyer David Kipkorir of face enforcement of a previous court order mandating the payment. Then ikakuwa ni Justice John Chigiti ruled that failure to comply would reactivate the orders, blah blah blah. So there was that. And how much are we talking about? 1.3 billion. There are people who are going to argue that he saved us land illegally to save, because the land was a lot, was worth 61.5 billion. But this goes back to ile argument. Unakama juzi tukiambiwa that, oh damn, title deed ya KBC imepotea. And I always ask this simple question. I think even if I'm not wrong, kuna time tuliambiwa mpaka title deed ya State House imepotea. Let me ask you this. You wake up in the morning, like right now, just about to go to work, and you walk, you open your door, and what do you find? It's a title deed for State House. And what will that title deed help you with? Can you claim that land? Can you go to the State House and be like, you know what, this is my land? Or can you just take that title deed and just go to the toilet with it and wipe your whatever? Because at the end of the day, it's useless. It's a useless document. We all know State House is State House. Even if you have the title deed, it means nothing. The same thing like KBC. KBC is KBC. Even if you have the title deed, it means nothing. So the way we make these cases look so complex, that there's a land case. Someone has grabbed public land, but somehow we need this lawyer. Like right now, do you know when I'd need a private lawyer? If I got that like title deed ya State House, do you know the government would hire a private lawyer to fight my lawyer? Then we end up with this. And this is why we are a shithole. This is why we are a shithole country. Why? Because there's no one who loves this country. everyone is there. Kumbuka vile nani kwa natupigania Faith Odhiambo. Faith Odhiambo alitupigania mpaka tulikuwa like Faith Odhiambo for president. Kuna watu walikuwa wanasema hivyo. But now look, it's all about money. Ruto akifight, it's all about money. Everyone, it's all about money. So we can't say that the executive is wrong for misusing our money. Cheki Ruto saizi anasemekana nini? Amespend an extra 4 billion I think on State House. Vile nakwambia si tuko hapa nje tunakanyaga mavi. But nini? So Ruto amefanya okay Ruto via Sakaja fanya tunakanyaga mavi hapa nje. But yes, so kulikuwa na hiyo Ahmed Nasir. But now it gets interesting. Kumbuka Safaricom ikiuzwa. Safaricom iliuzwa because like damn, Safaricom imeuzwa. The NIF fund, National Infrastructure Fund, inaenda kupata dough. Till you see, Citizen walikuwa wameandika government to spend 3 billion on advisors in planned sale of 15% Safaricom stake. 3 billion. Yes, this is going to go to which sort of advisors? Of course, lawyers are going to be there. And then we turn around and we are like, oh, why are we living in a shithole? This is the reason. And how watu wawili, Abuga na Gikenyi, me all I can say is thank you. I know the judges right now are scared because LSK has said it's going to do a radical surgery. The same thing that Uhuru did, Vilalisema, we shall revisit. The judiciary got scared. So I'm sure the judiciary is scared. And yeah, so let's see what happens, man. And it's a very tricky situation because even right now, as I'm telling you, right now if you had to ask me how many lawyers would be against that in a shithole like this, it's very few. But if we are looking at other societies like Japan, I'm sure 99% of the lawyers would be like, yes, we should not do business with the government. If we are looking at Europe, we'll be looking at least 95%. If you're looking at America, America inakuwaga a little bit rogue, but even America, I'm sure at least 75% would be against it. But in Kenya, I'm here seated and I'm wondering, the easiest way to get wealthy in Kenya is through taxpayers' money. So, there are legal ways of getting taxpayers' money, legal fees, and there's corruption. So, if you can use the legal way, what are you going to do? So, I don't know, man. So, pia niambieni hapo kwa comments, is Faith Odhiambo who we thought she was, man? Because, damn, I think country's stories abduction, she was on the front line. She really helped. I'm not going to take anything away from her. I even think she was the right person for the compensation committee. But I think it always takes just one thing to show, for someone to show you their true colors. And for me, anyone who can argue that public funds need to be used to pay private lawyers at ridiculous fees where they get percentages, to me, nah. Hiyo is justify wa kwangu. But niambie hapo kwa comments. Kama kawaida, amka, enda ufanye kazi. There's a lawyer waiting for that money of yours to most probably maybe buy themselves a yacht or maybe buy a plane or buy a Bentley or something. They have something to spend on. Acha ujinga, katafute pesa. Iko Nini.